Hey, everybody. Outside the NHL playoffs, we've reached the offseason where we know hockey may not fully stop, but we are out of the 4 to 5 day a week hustle, which is nice. Kids are outside playing other sports, they're doing other things, which is awesome. We encourage that. But they're not getting the same reads, the same decisions, the same game speed reps that they get during the season. And that's where most players tend to fall behind because the first thing to slip is not the hands, it's the hockey brain, the decision making, the reaction speed, reading the plays. That's the hardest thing to rebuild once the season starts. That's where we continue to be really impressed with NHL Sense Arena, especially their Dangle Pro stick handling drills. It's not replacing ice time. They definitely deserve the break, but it's making sure your kids stay sharp when they're not on the ice. So they come back ready and honestly a step ahead. Right now, they're offering an off-season pricing for $299 for the year. That's less than $1 a day, and you can get up to 4 profiles, so all your kids can use it. It's got hundreds of drills, training plans, game modes, everything. If you've got a goalie too, like I do at home, May is goalie month. There's gonna be weekly prizes, giveaways, even custom painted masks available. My kid is really excited for that. And as always, you can use the code OKPH to save an extra $25 off your purchase at any time. Head over to nhl.sensearena.com and take a look. You will not regret it. If you want your player coming back confident instead of catching up, this is a smart move, as well as listening to this episode. So let's get you into that right now. Hello, hockey friends and families around the world, and welcome back to another edition of Our Kids Play Hockey. I love the echo on that. I'm Elias, joined by, as always, Christie Casciano Burns, Mike Bonelli. We got a fan mail episode, and for those of you listening, we know you love these because anybody who writes into this show always writes something that a lot of you want to discuss, but they had the guts to do it. That's a little bit of a pressure push for you guys to submit topics. We have a lot of great guests on the show, but we want to hear from you as well. But today, we've got a great letter from someone from the great state of Connecticut. And guys, before we dive into this letter, we have to have a quick debate because my producer, Caitlin, and I were talking yesterday. This person says they're from the tri-state area. Oh. We were having a discussion about how there's a lot of tri-state areas, depending where you live in the United States. But Mike, I'm going to turn to you real quick because the tri-state area where you're from is New Jersey, Connecticut, and New York, correct?
Well, the tri-state area where anybody's from is Connecticut, New Jersey, and New York. Yeah. There is no other tri. There is no tri. Like I've never heard. Like I'm the tri-state area of Vermont, Maine, and New Hampshire. Like that's not
doesn't. It's not real.
It's not the only tri-state area is Jersey, New York, and Connecticut.
Yeah, spoken like a true person from that area. You guys love leaving Pennsylvania out of this because where I'm from in Philadelphia, the tri-state area is New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Delaware.
Oh,
all right.
And then the Delaware is hardly even.
well, we don't want to make the viewers in Delaware go away, Mike. Now, the other part is that if you go farther south, you have the tri-state area of Delmarva, which is Delaware, Maryland, and Virginia.
Right, but it would be again. This could be a whole other podcast, but
literally another
podcast. It'll never be referred to the tri-state. I've never been anywhere else in the world. We're like, oh, where are you going to the tri-state? You know where the tri-state is.
You know where the tri-state is.
I would agree with you. Yeah, I would agree with you on this. Just having lived out there.
So the writer is accurate.
Okay. Well, I'm going to get in the letter now because the viewers and listeners are here for the letter.
Right. And I will verify that I'm from Central New York. The tri-state is. Yes, you're right. 100%.
Well, you're actually, if you're a tri-stater, you're in upstate New York.
No.
Oh, Mike's throwing caveats in now. Okay.
Now we got to go into the upstate, downstate debate, which is a whole nother episode.
You're above Albany, New York.
Are you from Canada, New York? Are you from New York, New York?
That's right. Upstate New York.
You watch. Now we're going to get
fan mail
about this. We're going to get a lot of letters about. Listen, let me tell you what the tri-state actually. Anyway, just wanted to start it off with a barn burner today. Let's get into the letter. Okay. The person who wrote this letter has asked to be anonymous for many reasons, but I'm going to read this. Stick with me for a minute, folks, because it's about 2 pages long, but it'll flow right by. Okay, here we go. Hi, guys. Love the podcast. I'm a hockey dad in Connecticut in the tri-state area with a 2019 birth year playing travel mites. Again, the year is 2026 when we're recording this. Just to let you guys know out there. I really appreciate the way you talk about development, confidence, and keeping the game fun for young kids. I have a question about my son that I think a lot of parents probably deal with, especially at this age, when things started getting a little more competitive.
Again, my son is a 2019 birth year who really loves hockey and plays well once he's on the ice. He actually does great in pressure situations. He just has had a strong tryout this year and made the higher level team, but he sometimes struggles before practices or clinics when the environment feels new, especially if he doesn't know the kids or feels out of his comfort zone. Once he's on the ice, he usually does great. In drills, he works hard, and in one-on-one situations, he competes well. But in scrimmages, when things get more chaotic, he can turn into more of an observer instead of chasing the puck and playing aggressively. He seems to do best when hockey feels fun and social, but he also clearly has the ability to play at a higher level. Recently, he had a situation where he got very upset before a spring clinic because he didn't know anyone there. But once he went on the ice, he played great and said he wanted to go back. The first day of that spring clinic, my son was dressed and ready, but when we got to the rink, he froze. He wanted to go on, but he was overwhelmed and just couldn't move. In that moment, I said something I regret along the lines of maybe he's not ready to play with kids of his own level, and I know that wasn't helpful. But my wife stayed calm. She gave him space and told him he only had to go on for 5 minutes and could skate off if needed, and a promise of his favorite toy. He finally stepped on the ice, and once he did, he played very well. We learned to help him name it. Instead of I don't want to go, we say I feel nervous. That shift appears to help him see not just hockey, but it's about how he's feeling. That's something we actually talk about on the show a lot. The next spring session, he refused to go back. Still unsure, still no friends, but lured him to the rink with the promise of playing arcade games and said, let's see how you feel, and he eventually got on the ice. And by the third session, something shifted. It was 3 versus 3, same rinks, same kids, same coaches, fast and competitive, and he played aggressively. He scored multiple goals, chased loose pucks, and was fully in it. I do see him playing more competitively with smaller groups versus 4-on-4 or larger scrimmages, especially if he doesn't know the team. I was proud that by his third session, he had a breakthrough and was able to handle the feelings before getting on the ice. This past season was his first year of travel hockey. He was a little nervous at the start, but he never hesitated to go, practices or games. He dressed, he showed up, he played with heart. Over time, he built real confidence. He had 2 close friends from school on the team, and that made a big difference. Still leading towards watching versus diving in, though. And here's the thing, and for the audience, this is the crux of the letter. Not only did he finish the season strong, he jumped a level in tryouts and made the top team. He's got the skill, the fire, and the love for the game, but at certain times, he has this weight of feelings holding him back a bit. But when everyone is new and everything is new, new rink, new kids, new familiar faces, that's when the overwhelm can start to shut him down. Now, the challenge is this. A lot of his friends left the team from this past season, and he'll be starting next season with mostly new kids and a new coach. We want to keep signing him up because growth lives there, but we're looking for simple, sustainable ways to help him step in with confidence. How should parents handle a kid like this at this age? One who loves the game and has the ability, but needs time to get comfortable in new situations and isn't always naturally aggressive in games. How do you push them to grow and compete harder without hurting their confidence and making them lose their love for hockey? Written very well, by the way, by Hockey Dad in Connecticut. Now, before we get into this, for the audience listening, I know I said it's a 2019 birth year. It's a young kid. Do not think this does not apply to the older kids, right? Because this situation not only is a root situation for older kids, but for the dad that wrote this, if you think this is limited to a 7-year-old, I've seen this at 12, 15, 16, across the board. But just bringing it back, how do you push them to grow and compete harder? How do you keep them aggressive when maybe they're a little shy? Christie, I'm going to throw this one right to you.
All right. What he's describing is really pretty common, and it's a great foundation to build on, because here you got a kid who loves the game, shows up consistently, develops confidence over time. Those are all really good qualities that you can build on. Hesitation in new situations, everybody feels that. That's not uncommon. So what I would suggest is you help him, give him the tools to help him build confidence. So let's go back about those good qualities. You got a kid who's observant, he's coachable, he's emotionally aware. That's all great stuff. Newness to a new situation. There are ways you can help him shake that. What my kids always did is, and they love to do this, if it's a new rink, new team, take them into the rink a day ahead of time, meet the coach. A new school, for example, I don't know if your kids did this, but when my kids went from a grade school to middle school, they let the kids in a day early so they could walk around the school, try out lockers. They never did lockers before, figure out how to do a combination, go into the classrooms. That familiarity can build confidence. So I think this dad has a lot of great things to work with. And it's just helping your kid feel a little bit more comfortable in new situations, which is very common. That is not a bad thing. And you can help him, give him the tools to help build the confidence.
Yeah. That's all like healthy stuff, right? That's all like normal, like that. Like when you're saying that, Christy, I'm thinking, okay, that's like a normal, healthy kind of thing you would do. Like you would never throw your kid into middle school without having gone to middle school orientation. I mean, I just got my kid to college and he wouldn't go to college without going to orientation.
Exactly.
It's like, hey, get off the bus. Good luck.
Right.
You know, so I think there's so many levels of this that can be approached, you know, from an organization perspective. Like to Lee's point, this happens to more kids than I think we would admit. Sure. And it's the organization's responsibility to probably put in those tools, the orientation sessions. You can't just go into the rink and the first thing you do is you go into a foreign locker room with foreign people and foreign kids and jump on the ice and you might not even meet the coach until halfway through the practice. Like, sure. So there's all kinds of you know, tools in here that we can use as organizations. But I think the thing that gives me a little red flag in this kind of situation is, number one, is the player's a 2019 year of birth, so he's 7. Yeah. So on my hockey director side of my life, I'd be like, well, just put him in a place where he's having fun. Like there should be no coercion, there should be no baiting, and there should be no like, hey, you know, quid pro quo where you do this, I'll give you that. I mean, he's 7 years old, so. Like I think all as parents we all get like hung up on like the stuff like I love, you know, actually he was very articulate right in the letter. Like he excels when it's just fun and social, and then he has hard time when it's more competitive and a little more, you know, in depth, right? And I'm like, well, then put him in the fun and social. Like it should be all fun and social. He's 7. So and again, and I think in our region, the tri-state, that when you're in a place where everything is like I've got to be the best at the minute I start it, and I have to place myself in a level that looks good on Facebook and Instagram, like at the pressure of being like on the elite level or the competitive level, or like everybody gets so offended by saying, oh, my kid's just on the weekend having fun. Like it's almost like, what do you mean he's just having fun? Like, isn't he a hockey player? Like, isn't he progressing? Like, isn't he getting better? So I always fall back to I always fall back to the fact that like my analogy that you would never, these words and the way you would write this letter would never happen on a playground. Like ever, right? You would never be like, I had to beg my kid to get out of the car and go get on a slide or go on the swings or play in the sandbox with a bunch of, like, you think about kids when you go on vacation, right? And you go to a park and you have a 7-year-old and there's a bunch of kids at the park. They just go and play with the kids at the park. Right. Like there just literally is no reservation. And if you have a shy kid, most of the time it's like some other kid's going to come over and be like, hey, little Michael, come over here. Like that's the environment we're in. So I think we get all caught up in the hockey side. But to Lee's point, this happens at every level. I mean, this is happening today with 12-year-olds that leave a team, they go to a new team, they go into a locker room, and we're just not, and you know, and Christy, you said it, prepare your child, sure, and build the pieces in place that are going to help them make this transition. And you can do that. You actively have to do that, though. It's not a organic thing that happens. You need to actively put in place these steps, and this dad has obviously done a great job by articulating what the symptom is. And I think now we just have to prescribe what the antidote would be to these kind of situations.
Right. I always like to call it shrink the newness for your kids. And there are ways you can do that.
Awesome. That sounds like a good book.
Shrink the newness.
That's shrink the newness.
It's going to be our new. A few things I want to say. I always read a lot of notes when you both are talking. The first thing I want to say to this person who wrote the letter is, and I don't think parents, we do this enough. Ask your kid what they want at that age. Ask your kid what they're comfortable with. I think a lot of times what happens here, and I always like to say this, if you're a hockey person, if you're a parent who played hockey or you've been involved in hockey or even you're a hockey fan, a lot of times we do this mystical thing where we apply the intensity of playing hockey or watching hockey to this young age, right? Like hockey's an intense sport. It is, don't get me wrong, but when you're 7, it's not, and it shouldn't be. And I wrote down here, like, it's funny how it's like kind of playing competitively versus being 7 years old, right? And Mike, you said it a minute ago, like there's no other environment where you would put a 7-year-old in and be very concerned about their compete level other than maybe youth sports or youth hockey. And I think across the board, you got to let the kids be kids, right? The 3 of us are saying it. Right now, at that age, look, if your kid's competitive, that's fantastic. I really mean that. That's a wonderful asset. But that's not an asset that we're really paying attention to at the higher levels with a 7-year-old. It's cultivating a love for the game.
Sure.
So Mike's suggestion of put the kid where he's having a blast, that is exactly what you should be doing. Mm-hmm. All right. Now, we're also talking about, the fear of a kid in a new environment. In my opinion, we're not doing enough to put our kids into those environments. That is a massive skill set for young people of introducing them to new people, allowing them to talk to new people, letting them be nervous. All right. And in the letter, they talked about bribing their kid. I'm not going to sit here and tell every parent I know has bribed their kid at some point to do something. That's not a bad part of it at all. Right. But what we're seeing at the older levels is a complete failure of these kids' ability to communicate with each other. Now, again, they're growing up in a world where they're in their screens all the time and they're not communicating. As a parent, look, competitive hockey is great. I'd be more concerned at this age of, hey, go talk to that person, go talk to this person, go say hi to your coach. Something small I do with my kids that I like to share. When we're at a restaurant, my kids will order what they're going to get, and they will look the waiter or the waitress in the eye when they order. And when I tell them to do that, do you think they're like, yeah? No, they don't want to do it. But they're going to do it.
They got to do it. Yeah. All right?
So those skill sets are insanely important. And again, if you want to apply it, we can apply this to what does that have to do with hockey? If your young player cannot communicate effectively when they get older, they are not going to accomplish much on the ice, off the ice. I mean, again, I'm going back and forth between hockey and real life.
Right.
Okay. But interacting is a skill. Communication is a skill. And they are just as important at 7 as being competitive.
Right.
Yeah, but isn't that the reason to put your kid in sport? The reason to put your kid in sport is not to create a professional athlete, although that could happen. The idea that you're putting your kid in a sport is to allow them to learn all the things that sports provides us. And one of those things is reacting to new environments and to creating space for yourself to learn new things and to meet new people and to communicate in good and bad ways, like to say, oh, well, that was kind of the wrong way to do it. Sure. Well, I'd rather my 7-year-old have a bad reaction to a way to introducing himself to somebody in the locker room than my 22-year-old for his job interview. And again, not that we have to bridge all these huge gaps, but it's just like I guess it all depends on the motivation for putting your kid into an activity. And if the motivation in the activity is to create a world-class athlete at 70 years old, then then you are going to experience all these trials and tribulations very quickly, and it's probably going to be exasperated and defined harder because and more stark because you're looking you're looking to mold this 17-year-old into Connor Bedard, and they're not Connor Bedard yet. Right. They could be, but again, the motivation shouldn't be. And we hear this from virtually every professional hockey player we talk to. Right. That they wished, and again, and now in full defense, a lot of them still don't practice what they preach, but they do say you should just go have fun. Just let the kids enjoy themselves, right?
Right.
Because when you dig into it, maybe not everybody's doing that, but that's really the right thing to do.
Right. And you listen to this, you read this letter, and his kid is not overwhelmed by hockey. That's not the overwhelming factor. It's just the newness and the uncertainty. And that's pretty normal, especially for a 7-year-old, right?
Yeah, it probably goes back to my, to a lot of the conversations I have any time you're building a program, is to retain kids for longer periods of time and enables them. Like our culture of hockey right now is every 6 months you're meeting another 15 new kids. Yeah. And that's just not a healthy culture. It's not a good way to coach. It's not a good way to develop. It's not a good. Now, you could say, I guess in some ways, if your kid was on the spectrum side of the bad experience, that, oh, well, he needed a new environment. He needed new people. But if there was a good, good social interaction, everything seemed to be going okay. Why we keep trying to change it is beyond me. Yeah. It's actually getting back. It's like you can talk to his parents, especially in tryout season, right? Well, why are you leaving? Oh, the coach left, so I don't, we really like that coach and we don't want a new coach. Yeah, but you're leaving for a new coach, so your argument is stupid. Like you're saying you're leaving because the coach left, but you're leaving to go to another coach. So wouldn't you rather be with all the kids? You just are like that's the one common denominator is, okay, well, we figured out the kids. That's hard. And now the only thing you need to change then is to figure out the coach. Instead, what we do is we have to figure out the coach and the kids. Well, and the coach has to figure out our kids.
I'll say too that different coaches, like this is another episode too, but we should have a conversation about how having different coaches is not a bad thing, right? Like having different coaches give different perspective, different teaching. It actually helps you. If you look at the top NHL players in the off season, they'll work with a professional coach, but every 2 or 3 seasons, they'll switch it up who they're working with because they want a different perspective. They want different knowledge. For the most part. I also want to bring it back to this. One of the questions he asked here is how, and I was reading this while you're talking, Mike, right? How should parents handle a kid at this age? This is the key part here. One who loves the game, has ability, but needs time to get comfortable in new situations and isn't always naturally aggressive in games. You've already answered the question. Your kid loves the game.
That's it.
Yeah.
You're doing all the right things. Right. You can't replace that love. That's what you build on, the love for the game. You don't want to take that away from the kid. Right. These feelings of nervousness, and Lee, we've talked about this many times on the show. You got to help kids figure out how to handle the nerves. You don't want it, obviously, to overwhelm them, but you also want them to realize they're real, acknowledge that. That's a part of life. You're going to be nervous, and there are ways to control that nervousness. And, we've all talked about this before. Yeah. Let's say you're in a game, your kids are, the kids are getting pummeled. What does the coach tell them? One shift at a time. Win the battle with the puck. The little things that can build confidence that'll make you take away some of that edge off the nervousness.
You guys are going to laugh at me now. So this is fun. This kind of goes back to the roots of the show. Yeah. All right, because my oldest is 12 now, and I am enjoying all of the wonderful things that being a tween has to offer, if you guys understand what I'm saying.
I remember those days.
Right. And something I'm learning, because remember, we started this show when my son was about 7. All right. One of the things I'm learning is for the person who wrote this letter, you're going to have these conversations over and over and over again in a lot of different ways. So I love that they wrote, they're doing kind of what we talk about on the show is, hey, identify what you're feeling. Yes. Call it out, right? That is a powerful tool for anyone at any age. Identify what you're feeling and say, I am angry, I am nervous. That is a massive tool for every human being. It gives you power over the emotion. And we did all this with my kid when he was 7, and he had a really good grip on it. Then puberty started. All right. And it's like I'm having the same conversations again with an older child. All right. But it's like, hey, remember these tactics. Right. And one of the things I'm learning about a 12-year-old is because their brain is changing so much right now, is that when they're 12, and there's a range on this, obviously, their brain defense mechanisms turn off. So they feel wild emotions and they experience wild swings in what they're doing. Again, anybody who has a kid like mine or older is laughing right now because they're experiencing this. So the development of the human being is not going to stop, right? And I'm going to bring this in too because my son is very competitive, right? But I would not have pinged him as that when he was 7. In fact, I bet you if we go back to the older shows, there might be a show of me talking about I don't feel the competitive energy out of him at this point. Now it's really there. So to the person that wrote this letter, your kid's competitive today, and that's great. They may not be in 2 years, and other kids may be. Like that part of the game comes and goes in different forms. All right. And I'm going to say it again, much like the game, you can kind of only cultivate it. You can't yell at a kid, you're not competitive enough. That's not going to make them more competitive.
Well, I think that, but that's the whole point. Is he's saying he's competitive when he's comfortable, and he's not competitive when he's uncomfortable.
So is that competitive?
Keep him in the comfortable positions. Then he's comfortable. He's confident, and that's why he's competitive. Like when you have a parent say, "Hey, can you make my kid competitive?" Well, I said, "Can you help me make your kid confident?"
Right.
Like so, because if you're confident, you can be competitive. But it's hard to be competitive when you're a peripheral, outside the line player. Like when you're somebody that's not willing to go into the dirty areas and go into, make a play that might not be, it's the same kid that's like, he just dumps the puck and he gets rid of it. He curls, and people are like, oh, he's not competitive. I don't know if he's not competitive because when he's playing against, because it sounds like when he's out there just having fun, he's very competitive. So it's like, just be careful of the fact that, that you mask his competitiveness with the fact that he's not having confidence with a different group. And maybe a better group.
Right.
So be the big fish in the small pond. Dominate every level, whether you're 7 or 17. Dominate at the level that you're at first before you start to try to move a kid. Like at 7 years old, and I will die on this hill. 7 years old is not the place where you need to say, in order to get better, in order to be the best, you got to play the best. That is complete. It is just BS.
Oh, it's nonsense.
It's 1% of the kid that needs to, feel like every day they've got beaten down and discouraged and I'll show you. Most kids are, wow, I really like being the best kid. Great.
Right.
Now be the best kid with the next best kids. Now be the best kid with the next best kids. Not the, I wanted to be the best kid, but Dad, I never touched the puck for a whole weekend. All right. Well, you're no good. That's why you stink.
Yeah.
So just go, so now go to the level you can compete. Competition will confidence will breed competition. The competition will breed you to get a little better. When you get a little better, you move to the next level.
Well, I'm going to say this too, real quick. A couple things, real quick. All right. So I got to preface this always. If your kid plays AAA Mite, I'm not judging you right now. Just follow what I'm saying. Okay. Mike, you're a coach. I'm a coach. Have you ever had a parent or a kid come up to you when they're 17 or 18 that's really succeeding and said to you, it's because I played AAA Mites. That's why I'm here today. Has that ever happened to you once?
It's impossible because they don't even know. They don't even remember when they were 7-year-old Mites.
Right.
So I'm only saying this for perspective because I'm going to say it again. I'm not saying it's wrong to play AAA Mites. I'm saying I've been to those games. The pressure on those games is mind-boggling to me because it's like, guys, what are we doing here? The other thing too, and I got to say this too, is like we would never expect a 7-year-old to go to the playground and become competitive. Like we would you go to the playground, like you said, you would never say like, I want you to get on that swing and you need to do better than the kid next to you on that. We would never
I will say, I used to get mad. When I'd see I'd get mad. Like if I was at the playground and somebody like nudged one of my kids out of the way to get on the slide or said, hey, I'm not gonna get off the jungle gym. I gotta be like, and I as a dad, I'm like, get in there and get in there. Like,
sure, but that's human interaction, right?
But I'm not saying like, I can't believe he couldn't get on the monkey bars as quick as that kid. I got to get some private lessons for this kid. Like he's got to get on those monkey bars better. So it's never goes through your brain that way. But it does. Listen, I can see like you look and go, oh, I wish he was a little more competitive.
Sure.
But the kid might say, I don't even give a crap.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't even bother
That's
me.
right.
It's okay.
Exactly. It bothers the parent more than it bothers the kid.
It bothers me. So my wife would say, well, go take a walk around the soccer field then. If it's bothering you, then don't look at it. It doesn't bother him. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, well, that makes sense.
That's why one hockey mom used to keep a big bunch of suckers in her pocket. As soon as people started yapping, the parents started yapping, she'd give them this, here you go, put that in your mouth. Just be quiet, go take a walk.
They weren't poisonous.
They're not poisonous, no. But yeah, if your kid is loving hockey, that confidence, that aggression will come in time and with reps.
Or it won't.
Don't worry about it at age 7, or it won't.
Yeah, and that's okay too.
Well, that's the problem. Everybody's always like, well, how am I going to get my kid? I go, it doesn't. He might not.
Right.
Well, let's talk about.
You can't throw 20 kids on the ice and say if you give them all the same environment, they're all going to become the same player. They're not.
Let's talk about Bedard and McDavid real quick, all right? Because like those are the standard bars, right? Like Bedard and McDavid are known. It's like documented that at 8-9 years old, they were training for hockey all the time. It's all they cared about. It's all they did. But if you ask their parents, and you can find these interviews of like the McDavid saying, Connor did that himself. Like we didn't have to push him. That's all he wanted to do. In fact, there's one interview I read from his mom where she's like mildly like concerned, like you're different than other kids. Other kids aren't doing this. Now, the point here is this for the parents listening, you may want your kid to do that. In fact, the second half of the question is, how do you push them to grow and compete harder without hurting their confidence or making them lose love for the game? You don't push them. First off, that's the coach's job to do that. All right. The other thing too is they shouldn't need to be pushed. If they're doing it on their own, right? That's fantastic, right? But Mike, you said it. Christie, you said it just now. Not every kid's going to do. Most kids are not going to do that. That is absolutely okay. It is absolutely normal. Now, again, a lot of gray area in this conversation. We all have to parent. Like, I'm not saying like if your kid is lazy, just let them be lazy. That's not what I'm saying. All right. I'm saying the incredible levels of drive and determination that you see from these NHL players. That's not normal.
Yeah, but that's why statistics exist, right? That's why there is a statistic that says when players turn 13 years old, they quit sport. Because then you can mask a kid's desire at 6 and 7. You can manipulate a kid to think that they have to do these things. You can keep because no 7-year-old is going to tell his dad to go, pound salt. Like he's going to go, okay, I got to get up, I got to work out, I got to catch up, I got to again. But if that's not your player, and not listen, like I said, I experience it every day. Like I see kids all the time. I'm like, oh my God, that kid is a different animal. Like that kid is crazy. Like he loves this. Yeah. And I'm always like, I wonder if that like that and then you'll see the two parents like, I don't know what the hell, this kid's crazy. Like he goes to the gym every day, he shoots every day. Like I come home from school and he's broken the garage door 6 times because he's shooting on it. Like but in the reverse of the parent that says, Mike, how do I get my kid to get off the couch and go shoot? I go, well, you can bribe, but that runs out. But that runs out.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And again, also, I agree with Lee. We're in a different world than like when I grew up. Like I was so bored, I did go out and play hockey. Like I was bored. But these kids aren't bored anymore. Like there is no boredom. Like they could play video games all day, every day. Like or anything. They could do. There's so many other things they can do, like in a different world than we lived in, that it's hard for a parent over the age of maybe 25 or 30 to see like, oh, well, they don't have the chance to get so bored they're going to go out and do something.
Like Christie, I want to jump in here too because I think it's about these crucial conversations you have with your kid, and I'll give you a great example. Most hockey playing kids, if you say, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be an NHL player. I hear that all the time. Sure. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm all about kids having big dreams. All right. But I know conversations I've had with my own kids where I'll say to them, well, look, saying you want something, and I don't just apply this to the hockey. All right. Saying you want something and doing the work it takes to have something are two very different things. And I'll say everyone says they want something. Everybody wants to be rich. Everybody wants to play in the NHL.
I want to be a NASCAR driver, but I hate driving.
That's a problem.
That's because he's from the tri-state area. You live in the tri-state area where you can't.
We don't get
where it's a racetrack everywhere there.
I inspire. I try and inspire, and this is why I say cultivate. You can't create. You can cultivate. I try and inspire my kids. If you're serious about what you want, you will do the work, and I won't have to tell you. And then I'll always follow it up with, and I'm here to help you. Right. So if and look, I can always speak to my own experience. I've had some positive responses to this where my son has said, hey, I want to work on this aspect of my game. Can you help me? Yeah. I mean, not only is that the most rewarding thing in the world as a father and a coach, all right, but it's coming from him. I'm not doing that. Now, for everybody listening, of course, we have the conversations of, hey, you got to get up and practice if you want to get better. You got to push a little harder. I watched you today. I didn't think that was your best effort. but I'm not focused on if you're not competitive, you're not going to succeed.
Sure.
I'm focused on him as a human being. This is not really about hockey. I thought you had more to give today, and I didn't think you did your best. Can we discuss that? And I never do that in the car ride home because the car ride is not.
It's so odd, right? That this is just it's a sport thing. Like if your kid, because you say this all the time to your children, if they say, "Oh, I want to be an honor roll student," well, just sit around and do nothing then. Like, don't go to extra credit. Don't worry about opening a book. Don't study. Don't worry. You're a smart kid. You'll eventually become an honor roll student. Like it's just all of these things. Like, people want to become something, then you have to do the things that are going to enable you to become that. And if your child is just somebody that's like, listen, I just want to have fun. I'm just out here. And once you put me in a pressure situation, I kind of turn into this little butterfly and I don't really get engaged. Well, then put them back into the place where they were engaged. And then eventually they will engage and surpass, or they won't. And so it's just a hard, but I get it, because it's so hard when it's your kid.
It is hard.
Look and be like, oh God, this can't be my kid. Like, I look at my buddy's kid and he's doing this and my kid's doing this. Like, he's eating grass out in the field and this kid's scoring soccer goals. Like it's just not fair. Well, it is what it is. So I think it's just a matter of, put them in and it's a really, really, really hard thing to do. There's no doubt about it. The FOMO piece is hard, but you got to be able to extract yourself from it and sit back. I think that's why I love parents, like hockey parents that I work with, that have nothing, like have zero idea about hockey. They just don't, like, I don't know. Is he good? Is he good? I go, is he good? This kid's unbelievable. Like he's really good. But just let him, but don't, just let him mature into it. Just keep him where he's at, because he's having a great time.
It's their journey, man.
It's their journey. Right. And we've seen this when parents push too hard, kids can easily retreat. So as a parent, you want to be that steady voice. You want to be supportive. You also want to be that person they turn to if they have to reset emotionally. I mean, that's really important, to be there for your kid. Like, if they have no place else to turn, if they're not doing well out in the ice, it's uncomfortable for them. I really hate this. You want them to be comfortable to come to you and share that with you and say, okay, let's figure out. This isn't making you happy. Let's go in another direction. It's okay.
Yeah. Well, and I'm going to take it. I want to say this too. We have to acknowledge this, right? Because there's a dark side to this conversation as well. Because I have seen kids and adults whose parents did try and mandate competition and trying hard, and they force the kid to try hard. And their kids, and Mike, you've seen this too, their kids are sometimes really good, but they are psychologically really bad.
Yeah.
All right. And I'll tell you what, I just, I'm not even talking as a father right now, I'm talking as a coach. It's got to be the most heartbreaking thing as a coach when you see a kid burn out, or worse, you see a kid that is unbelievably talented and hates to play. And that does exist. I have seen it. Okay. I have met hockey players.
I think we interviewed some of these people.
We have.
Yeah. I've met pro players that hate playing hockey. And it's because they were forced to do it. Now you can say, well, they got this great life. I don't think they do. They are not in a good place. All right. And that is because of parenting. They were pushed too hard to the brink, where their whole value set now with their loved ones is based on that. And it's not healthy. And again, look, that's my position. I mean, look, there's no perfect parents. I've said it every show, right? Yeah. But I can tell you that your kid has to figure this out on their own, with you helping to guide them. You can't do it with them. All right, again, we were joking at the beginning of the episode about the tri-state area. I have gone to every NHL team's rink in the area. You go to a Ranger game, a Flyers game, a Devil, it's intense. It's very intense. I don't bring that to the 8-year-olds or the 10-year-olds. That's not the same thing.
The Flyers aren't tri-state. You meant the Islanders. But yeah,
I'm talking about the team that's probably going to make the playoffs, Mike. Do we want to go there right now? The date, April 13th. Don't call me out if they don't make it. Oh, go ahead.
But I think this is all true. This is all true stuff. I mean, it's like it. But again, the cautionary tale is wasted on the people that need to hear it. And it's just, because when you get into a room of a bunch of parents of 19-year-olds that had elite athletes at 7, they're going to have very, very different stories about what the end of the journey was. But they're all going to have the same start. My kid loved going on the ice. So continue to do that. Like just make sure they're in a loving relationship with hockey, and it's not an adverse relationship with you about hockey.
Right.
And things will work out whether it's hockey or not. Like it's just going to give them a better base of where they end up going with the sport. They might end up leaving the sport, but having great memories of being in a sport. And I think that's kind of like, hopefully the goal of all of us, right? That the old saying that, like, don't, like you say it all the time, like, don't be your child's last coach, or, or don't have it be the last year of hockey because of the decisions you made this year. And I think, we all, as hockey people, we all want to see these kids keep progressing and moving on, like, and because I don't think anybody would say that they don't enjoy watching their kids play hockey. That's the best part of it.
Yeah, right. Actually, I'm enjoying it more as my kids get older.
Good.
To be honest with you, because it's looking back on, especially for the person who wrote this, looking back at that age level, there's so much unneeded stress at that age level. And as my kids gotten older, I've really settled in. Now, again, I've been such a beneficiary of this show in this process, but I'm enjoying them much more at the levels that they're at now than I did when they were mites. And I think a lot of that's just because, like, I'm not putting the pressure on it anymore, right? I think we also have to acknowledge it's normal to feel that pressure, though. It might hockey, like, it's just kind of comes with the territory. Every parent is hovering a little too much, right? And they're all wondering what's going to happen with their kid when they're 18. And I'm going to say it: just be present at 7, at 8, at 9. Don't be looking too far into the future. All right. Again, the last question here: how do you push them to grow and compete harder without hurting their confidence or making them lose their love for hockey? My answer to that is, if you think they are losing their love for the hockey, back off completely.
Yes.
Right?
Walk away.
It's not going to work. All right.
Because that's the whole foundation of everything, is their love for the game.
Yeah.
You don't have that, you're not building on anything.
Yeah. And again, the confidence and the competitiveness, I got to say this, it kind of comes and goes sometimes. Like my son, even my daughter, some seasons she was more competitive than other seasons. And it's just kind of part of the journey. Yeah. Right? And I got to say this too, especially for this one, when your kids, first off, when checking comes into the game, will change how the game is played completely. And I always like to remind parents of a below 14U, you're playing a very different version of hockey than the game that is after hitting comes in. That's number one. Number two, man, there are a lot of distractions that come in 12, 13, 14, 15 years old away from the rink. All right. And that's real life stuff your kids are going to be dealing with. Right. And hockey might very suddenly not be the most important thing, or might become the most important thing. And I'm saying this because every kid's going to go through this journey very differently. The confident, competitive kid at 7 may continue to be that way, may not be that way by 15. By 15, they might not even want to play hockey anymore. They might want to play an instrument. They might want to do other things, right? So just very important things to keep in mind, that this is a long journey. Stay present. For the person who wrote this letter, first, look, let's compliment the person first off for even writing this letter. All right. The fact you wrote this and you're aware of this stuff, I think from a parenting standpoint, puts you light years ahead, right? Because you want to discuss it. The other thing I wanted to acknowledge in this letter, guys, before I forget, is this father got very vulnerable saying, and I applaud this. He said, I said something to him I shouldn't have said. All right. So to the person who wrote this, first off, hey, man, I've done that too.
Sure.
All right. You're not alone with that. All right. I think at some point in the parenting journey, we all say things we wish we hadn't said. All right. But there's no perfect parents. That's true in marriage too. Okay. We all say things we shouldn't say. The fact that you acknowledge that and then even provided like the solution of, my wife did it this way and this was a better way. That's awesome because, and again, speaking as the dad of a 12-year-old, your kids will enrage you at some points in the future. I mean, enrage you. They will disrespect you. They will say things to you they shouldn't be saying. And you have to hold all of it in yourself to not take them and lift them up by their collar and say, do you know who I am? I'm your father. That has not happened in my house. Don't worry. But like that's some competitiveness right there as well. But I really want to say that to the person who wrote this. It takes guts to write a letter like this, to say what you feel like you're doing right, you're doing wrong, and ask these questions. And these are fantastic questions, all right, that we love discussing on this show. Okay, so again, I think the advice here is just enjoy the journey, enjoy the game, and make sure your kid's in an environment at that age where they're happy and they're succeeding and they're learning, and hopefully you have a great coach that's cultivating all of that.
Right. And you can do things to help them learn how to deal with the uncomfortable situations,
Right. Away
the
from the
newness factor, right? How to stay in them, and even eventually how to thrive in them. That's a skill way bigger than hockey.
Right. Christie, again, we've said it every episode for 6 years. The ROI on youth hockey is the life lessons. Anything else is a bonus. If you do anything in this game beyond that, it is a massive bonus. All right. And again, I know that from just going to softball games and how lax that is, right? It's like a totally different environment, at least for me, right? Compared to hockey. I know there's intense people at softball too. Don't get me wrong.
But there are.
I know. I've seen them too.
I've seen them too.
But what I'm trying to say is that I'm amazed how relaxed I get in a different sport environment. And it actually makes me think about, oh, wow, I really do have two separate versions of myself, depending where I'm at. And I don't want that. I want to be even keeled across the board. So that's actually helped me as well. And then, Christie, you said it too. Just kind of another answer to this question that has been asked today. This is something you got to practice, not just at the hockey rink. I said it earlier about like having my kids talk to the waiters or the person that they're ordering from. Like, you're going to experience interactions with your kids everywhere. So encourage them to interact, encourage them to communicate. I am a big believer, and we struggle with this at times, but I'm a big believer, like the phones are down at the table. All right. To the point my kids call me out if I pick up the phone now. Right. And I hear to myself, no, it's just a work thing. And my daughter will go, Dad, put the phone down.
Put the phone away.
All right? And I'm like, she's right. She's right.
Yeah.
But great letter. Go ahead. Any final thoughts on this?
Yeah, you can also help your kids. And we've talked about this, and so have you, Mike, about acknowledging your feelings. That's not a bad thing to feel nervous. Don't dismiss them, but give them the tools to deal with that nervousness. You know, sometimes these kids need structure if they're overwhelmed by new situations. So give them some structure. Say, take a deep breath before you get into that situation. Take a sip of water. Have a phrase in your mind. We've talked about this before too. I'm ready. First skate hard. Some kind of a phrase that will help you kind of focus and be able to handle that situation a little bit better. Routine is good. Routine is good. Yeah.
I like to say too, and look, this probably isn't true for everybody, but I say, and this is true for me, like, hey, as soon as you step on the ice, you'll feel great.
Yeah.
As soon as you get out there, you're going to feel
love
fine.
that.
And it's for me, that's like anytime I was really nervous, I would say that, like, hey, man, once you get on the ice, because as soon as I step on, I'm a different person.
Right.
I was, right? So it's like, that alter ego kind of thing of, hey, just get out there. Just get out there. You're going to have a great time.
Right. Those small wins can flip that switch faster than any big pressure.
Yeah. All right. Representative of the tri-state area, you let us know what your final thoughts are.
No, they're all great points. And again, I think we live in a time right now where a lot of these things that should be common sense are like they're just overshadowed with this desire to have a label or be on the right team at an early age. I think the most successful kids we find are the ones that are just, they come out of nowhere and like, oh my God, this kid's just having fun. They're having a blast and they're enjoying themselves. And, take all these little, and again, and we've said this a lot, right? You're your child's best advocate. You know your child the best. So tweak and use the tools that are available to you to figure out what works for your kids. What works for my kids isn't going to work for somebody else's kids. And, my motivation for them playing might be different than your motivation. Whatever it is, just find and just realize that, they're 7 or they're 11 or they're 12 or they're going into puberty, or like just put yourself in a situation where, they're a developing human being and they're not a fully functioning, professional adult, which they have their own issues as well. So I think it's just a matter of just saying, just understand like where you, what do we say all the time? Like just be, just be aware of where your feet are right now. And your son and your kids' feet, and then say, okay, well, based off of that, what is the plan to help them, progress through a practice, a season, a career, whatever it is. If you go in and you just wing it, there's a lot of missteps you can have if you don't think about it. And like Christie saying, even write it down and think about it, and manifest what you want what you want out of your child, and help them find that path.
Mike, I'm glad you brought up motivation too. You know, I think it's important for the whole audience. When I coach coaches, one of the things I often talk to them about is, hey, do you know how each of your players is motivated?
Mm-hmm.
And I think I've said this before, but I always get this. No, how do I do that? Well, you ask them how they're motivated. All right. You said it, Mike. You said it. Every kid is different. Every kid is motivated different. So as parents, I always say, do not make the mistake of assuming that your kid is motivated the same way that you are. No matter how similar to you think they are a separate whole person. They're not you. Like my kids are not me. I'm me.
Mm-hmm.
They're them. And again, I want to know how they're motivated. And look, that has been hard for me because my son does not respond the way I respond to different types of motivation. I've had to figure that out. It's very frustrating. Whereas actually my daughter's a little more on my wavelength with that. Right. But I want to get along with both of them. And I do. Don't get me wrong. So just remember that there's no path here. There's no answer that's going to be true for every kid. You have to figure out what's best for your kid.
Right? Yeah.
Tremendous letter.
It was a good letter.
Yeah.
Great letter. We appreciate it. Send more. We love tackling these questions.
Yeah.
And if you're in the tri-state area, just come have a beer with me and let me know about
right. And if you're from anywhere else in the world that listens to this show, because we can have the whole audience involved, Mike. Oh, that's such a tri-state answer. Anyway, Christie alluded to it. Guys, we're always finding new ways to get you involved in the show. One of the cool things now is, you heard me say it every episode, obviously you can always email us at team@ourkidsplayhockey.com. But there's some expanded options now. If that link in the description, not only can you text us, now we can message you back. You can also leave a voice message if you want to have your voice on the show, or just tell us what it is so we can summate it on the show. It's really never been easier to communicate with us. And I always like to say too, just like this person, Hockey Dad in Connecticut, we will protect your name. Obviously, if you do not want your name known, we will never put that on the air. We never have. So just know that if you want to communicate with us one-on-one, or if you just want to have a conversation on the air with us, let us know. You can do that. And always check out ourkidsplayhockey.com for all the episodes. You can search for the topics and find out what you want to hear from this group. That's going to do it for this edition, though. For Christie Casciano Burns and Mike Bonelli, I'm Elias. Thanks for watching or listening to Our Kids Play Hockey, and we'll see you on the next episode. Take care, everybody.
We hope you enjoyed this edition of Our Kids Play Hockey. Make sure to like and subscribe right now if you found value wherever you're listening, whether it's a podcast network, a social media network, or our website, ourkidsplayhockey.com. Also, make sure to check out our children's book, When Hockey Stops, at whenhockeystops.com. It's a book that helps children deal with adversity in the game and in life. We're very proud of it. But thanks so much for listening to this edition of Our Kids Play Hockey, and we'll see you on the next episode.